Welcome to Painted Valley Design's YouTube channel, where we will be showing you tutorials as well as a look into our exclusive glitter collections brought to you by Painted Valley Designs. You can find us at www.paintedvalleydesigns.com or on Facebook, Painted Valley Designs. To start this cup, you can see that I have already sanded, painted, and prepped my area that I'm going to be working on. For this cup, I will be using the Mod Podge method, and you can see as I start to apply the Mod Podge that it's not clean. This is obviously really dirty Mod Podge with other glitters in it. Typically, I don't worry about that if I'm using colored glitters. Using white glitters, I like to use clean Mod Podge or it'll show through. But since I'm going to be dyeing this anyway, it's not that big of a concern for me to have it be dirty with other different glitter colors in it. The glitter I have chosen for this design is Anna, a chunky iridescent mix exclusive to Painted Valley Designs. I start by turning my turner on, letting the cup spin as I pour my glitter over, making sure to get a nice even coverage. I will only do one layer of glitter on this cup. I'm not really worried about a little bit of the background showing since I'm going to be dyeing it anyway, and this glitter by itself covers very well with just one layer. After I apply the glitter, I like to go around and pat down any areas that have pieces sticking up. It makes it easier as you go about your process and your different epoxy layers. You can do thinner layers of epoxy without worrying about these chunky pieces sticking out. This next step will be to take our alcohol inks and go through to make our tie-dye design. I used orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, and pink. These alcohol inks are just inks that I made at home using sharpies and alcohol. I highly recommend letting your Mod Podge dry before applying your inks. I'm just extremely impatient and did not want to wait. As you're going through, you don't need your lines to be straight. As with tie-dye colors, they run together and bleed into each other, and that's perfectly okay for it to do this. It will create that ombre effect within the colors that you're using. This turner is new to me and it turns a lot slower than my old one. As I'm going through this part, I just left my turner off and spun the rod that is in my cup as my design went around. It made it easier for me, and as you can see as I go around, there are spots where I had too much ink on my brush and it ran a little more than I would have liked, but again, it's tie-dye, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Once I have the sides done, I take it off the turner and go to the bottom. That way I can set it up straight to avoid any excessive runs. It looks like I put my cup halfway in the frame here. Sorry about that. It's just the same technique, kind of going in a circle with all of the colors to create that tie-dye swirl. Here it is before we apply epoxy and where I turn the cup around to see where there's areas that I need to touch up that I felt could have been a little more vibrant. As you can see here, I'm going in and touching up my colors just because a few of them lost their vibrancy. I wanted to make sure that those colors popped really well. My orange definitely turned more of a peach color than I would have liked. I do recommend before you apply epoxy, going in and spraying with a clear spray paint to seal in those colors so they don't fade or lose their vibrancy when you do get to applying your epoxy. And as you can see here in this frame, there's some runs there from that green where I got a little heavy-handed with it, but again, it's tie-dye and I wasn't super worried about it. So now I'm going in with my first layer of epoxy, and again, I'm a little messy with this turner. It's much slower than my old one. My first layer is always a thin layer. I don't like to put on a super thick layer until my final one. I'm not sure why I do that, it's just what I prefer. As I go in, I let my turner spin and I apply my epoxy to the sides, rim, and bottom of my cup. With any chunky glitter, I like to put 2 thin layers before applying any of my vinyls or water slides. That avoids any bumps from the chunky glitter that we applied. In between the epoxy layers, I always sand and wipe down with alcohol, and then I apply my epoxy onto the cup in the same fashion I did the first layer. You do the sides, the rim, and then don't forget to get the bottom. And here's the final product with my vinyls on and my final thick layer of epoxy. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on that bell notification for our YouTube channel to be notified whenever we post new videos so you can check out what's next. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.